What's going on, everyone? I hope you had an amazing day in the markets today. We have one more trading day left for the week. So in today's video, we're going to go over everything we can to make tomorrow awesome. Looking at the market today, it was kind of choppy, a little bit boring, but luckily we do have some pretty exciting things that are starting to really heat up behind the scenes. So in today's video, we're going to go over some awesome setups for tomorrow, some interesting news you won't want to miss, and towards the end of today's video, we have a big money, basically $1 million trade, so you better stick with us all the way to the end. But with that being said, Tom, let's jump right into today's episode.
Yeah, today was actually pretty good. Early on, we were running up, but we hit that 452 to 453 resistance overhead and started really tanking down, and we actually got under 451 at one point of the day, and then we saw the 450 support actually come in here. And Mike, I will say, though, with the market going down, there was quite a bit of choppiness. Even like Apple and other stocks, they tried to go up, but then they hit a lot of resistance towards the end of the day, whereas we've been talking a lot about the marijuana stocks over the past few days, and Tilray continued today, up 11.28%. CGC was also continuing up today, up 25%, doing even better. Now, granted, they're a 50-cent stock, but still, it's good to see them up 50%, along with Tilray there. And man, it's awesome. Tilray's back at $3 a share, and if we start to break out above 3 tomorrow, this could be an amazing continuation play.
Absolutely. So in yesterday's video, we talked quite a bit about these marijuana stocks, and today they just kept on soaring. The reason we're talking about these so much right now is because most of the time, these stocks just get punched in the face by the market day after day, week after week, and month after month. But every now and then, like once every couple of years, they just go crazy, most of the time based off of big news. Like we saw in 2021, Tilray had an amazing run from basically like $5 all the way up to $66. And then Tilray again in 2018 had another run from like $20 all the way up to like $300. Right now, it's lingering right around $3 a share. That does not mean it's going to 10x this time, but you know, when these stocks run, they really tend to run. So that's why we're talking about them so much right now, because there is some serious capital flowing into them. Now, if you missed yesterday's video, or even if you just want a little bit of a refresher, basically, the Department of Health and Human Services recommended to the DEA to, chill out with the marijuana rules and regulations. And long story short, that's very good for the industry. And of course, assuming that the DEA takes some favorable action related to marijuana stocks would have a lot to gain. So that's why the stocks are really starting to run.
Yeah, they are, and I think that for the longer term, this will be amazing. If they get declassified from a Schedule 1 drug down to a Schedule 3, or if they do something else with it, that will actually be amazing. And, whenever you think about marijuana stocks for the long term, what do we always think about is these states trying to legalize marijuana, and we start to look at the states that have it legalized right now for medical and recreational use. It's 23 states, so every state in dark green on here has recreational and medical use. Everything in bright green has medical use on there, so it's actually quite a bit of states. There's only a few left that don't have it in some type of way. I think that like if Florida and Texas would legalize, that would be huge for the industry. I know Florida already has medical, and that's a pretty big state, so if they ended up legalizing it soon, that would be another one to just add more revenue to some of these companies. And talking about Tilray specifically, Mike, I know that that's been our favorite one. This stock really impresses me because they're not just relying on marijuana for their revenue. Remember, they had that news with Anheuser-Busch where they were buying up some of those craft brewery companies as well. That's going to help add more revenue to their company. So even if the marijuana sector doesn't necessarily pop off right away, they're at least doing and going through steps to try to up that revenue, whereas a lot of other marijuana companies aren't taking those types of measures. So I love that for Tilray, and it's good to see more states as well just continue to legalize year after year. And for the longer term, I think that these prices around $3 are pretty damn good. Now, I know that $1.50 was very enticing a couple months ago, but man, Mike, I mean, $3 is still pretty low here considering how high Tilray's been.
So these marijuana stocks are not for the faint of heart. These stocks move in some very crazy ways. So if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen with these ones, and that's all right. But if you do want to, get in on some of this crazy action, keep a very close eye on Tilray, which is TLRY, CGC, also MSOS, and then GRWG. There's a bunch of stocks out there, but these are among the most popular. Out of all of them, I would say Tilray presents the best short-term trading opportunities. But, going forward, Tom, I'm going to have a very close eye on these stocks because basically what we're seeing with them happens very rarely.
Yeah, and I think that even just a little bit of money into some of these stocks can go a long way. Like Tilray, with some of the moves that we've seen in the past, like if we go back to that move in 2018, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen again, Mike, but from that $5 level to the high, this thing was up almost 1,300%. So we're talking about some serious moves, and it doesn't take necessarily a ton of capital. I think even just throwing a few $100s into some shares could pay off pretty well in this one over the next few months, especially if the schedule really does change.
No doubt. So keep a close eye on these ones. But Tom, it is sadly about that time. We are heading into the dreaded month of September. And for the stock market, that's the worst month you can ask for. So with data going all the way back to 1928, 95 years worth of data, Tom, we can see that September is that 1 month that the stock market just struggles with, right? We'll say it like that. And, you can see, generally speaking, all the other months are pretty fine for the stock market, but September normally tends to be pretty nasty. So, just keep in mind that historically speaking, we are heading into one of the worst parts of the year.
Yeah, and we had the Jim Cramer news yesterday too. I mean, it's like everything's just playing out perfectly for us here, Mike, to the downside. But watch the market actually go against it and kind of pop up in September and go against what everyone's kind of thinking here. But it would be very surprising to me. I'm kind of looking at the market down here, and it's not even necessarily because September is historically bad. I'm just looking at everything going on with the possible talk of rate hikes. I mean, people keep talking about possible rate hikes towards the end of the year. Some people obviously say not. It looks like at the next meeting, they're still pricing in another pause, but there's definitely just so much on our plate as far as the economy goes that heading into this month, it's going to be a pretty scary thing. Imagine if we get some bad news here with this economic data tomorrow or something. It could end up getting pretty bloody in September.
Tom, I'll tell you, whether you're looking at rate hikes or the historically bad month of September, none of that scares me. What really scares me is Jim Cramer's tweet yesterday. He said there's so many reasons this market can go higher so easily. If that is not the biggest warning sign you can see, I don't know what is. But on a serious, that was pretty serious. But on the next note, the market is also making some lower highs right now, which is, normally not the best thing to see. But I think the best way to go is, over these next couple days and weeks is acknowledge that, hey, this is normally a weak time for the market. So that does not mean I'm going to go all in on short. But I am going to be a little bit more cautious, going long. And, I'm just going to keep in mind that we're heading into a bad part of the year. I think it's as simple as that. And, as market news comes out, as setups progress, you just got to take each day as a new day and keep firing.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm really glad you mentioned that lower high. That's actually what I'm looking at right here for the next couple days and couple weeks. We talked about some of these resistances coming up. It looks like 453 will be huge in the short term. Watch 455 overhead. I feel like we could start to hit here and come down, especially if September goes south. And Mike, whenever I look and I hear about the market doing bad, I kept hearing earlier in the year the possibilities for recession. And I'm actually looking at this data right here, and it's pretty scary looking.
Exactly. So some forecasted probabilities of a recession in the United States is around that 70% level, and it's definitely not good to see expectations this high. Clearly, if we look back throughout history, we haven't seen a reading this high since the early 80s, so it's definitely nothing to ignore. It's pretty important, but, at the same time, it doesn't happen until it happens, right? Like, we can't go about our lives worrying, oh no, there might be a recession in the next 12 months. We just gotta, gotta keep moving forward. And, if the economic data gets worse, it's all about adjusting. We'll just adjust our positioning and our plays accordingly, and we'll just adapt and survive. That's all you could do.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, part of that adapting and surviving too is like also just keep making sure you're grabbing longer term positions. That way you don't get left in the dust whenever the market does start to go up. I know a lot of people always feel bad whenever that market, you sit there and you watch Apple, Mike, year after year after year go up 50, 40, 30%. And then you're like, damn, like, I wish I would have been holding Apple forever. And that's the thing, getting those longer term accounts and stuff in place really start to make it a lot easier to trade as well. But talking about shorter term trading, Mike, man, Shopify has had an insane move today, 10%. And they had some news with one of the best companies in the stock market today. And anytime you partner with Amazon, Mike, it is a good deal out there.
No doubt about that. So looking at Shopify stock today, it's booming basically off of news that they struck a deal with the powerhouse Amazon for basically a buy with Prime feature. So basically what looks like is happening is, they have this deal with Amazon, and you're just going to be able to like easily buy stuff off of Shopify with a buy with Prime button. It initially seems like it'll be similar to like one of those like buy with PayPal buttons that you see all over the internet. And really all this does is it makes it great for Shopify because it just makes it easier for people to, buy stuff, and everyone's familiar with Amazon nowadays. And it's great for Amazon because, it spreads their influence even further, right? So it's kind of like a win-win here, but I feel like Shopify has more to gain from this. Looking at Shopify stock, it is a stock I own in my long-term account. This stock has been on an amazing run over like the past year or so, from $25 a share all the way up to like 66 right now, and this thing has all-time highs right around $176 a share. So overall, Shopify is running with some steam, and I love to see it. And honestly, I love the stock for the long term.
Yeah, that recent dip scared me a little bit with Shopify. I was a little worried they were going to start tumbling over like some of those other growth stocks and falling down, but it's great to see them like kind of fill that gap, bounce off that $50-ish support and start to come back up. And now they have that news adding more fuel to the fire. It's looking great here. So I'm with you, Mike. Shopify is looking good, even for the longer term. I think it'll be a pretty good stock. Now, over the past year, it is pretty high, right? But given that pullback over the past couple months, Mike, like it's starting to get a lot of steam. And if it breaks that high recently around 70, it'll probably keep popping up. So in the short term, it's going to be a good stock to watch. And those options were going crazy this morning. If somebody swung this into today, let me know in the comments, because you were probably woke up to a dream move here.
Literally, some of these Shopify options literally popped by 6,500% today, believe it or not. So that goes to show you the power of options on some big moves. So good stuff there, Tom. But it's now time for the fun stuff, which are the plays for tomorrow. One stock I'm watching very closely is Tilray. You guys knew I was going to say this. Don't act surprised. So Tilray, it's up 11% today. It's moving with some power. This one is very volatile, and I'm watching it to the upside very closely over the next couple days. Ideally, the more volume with this one, the better. So Tilray, had a great day today. It does have some resistance around $3.11 per share, but I'm telling you, the more volume and the more just momentum overall with this one, the better. We could see on Tom's chart right now that a ton of volume just came flowing into this stock over the past 2 days. We want to see that type of energy going into tomorrow and next week, right? The more of that we see, the better the chance of like a continued run up.
Yeah, and we're going to need it too, because we're kind of at that $3 to $3.10 resistance. And I'm really thinking that this might be the time that Tilray finally gets up through here. We tested it a couple months ago, and I feel like this will be a great opportunity here over the next couple weeks. So let's go, Tilray. And I just some great news with the marijuana stocks. And, Mike, to kick September off the right way, I'm going with SQQQ here. for tomorrow. So I'm not necessarily saying the market's going to go down because it's September 1st or anything like that, but I do think that given how we saw a pullback towards the end of day today, SPY's getting close to 450 again. If we move under 450, I think that'll kind of be like the green light for some puts there. And then I'll go ahead and look at SQQQ, which obviously if you're trading SQQQ, you'll have to look at calls because this one goes up when the market drops. You could also look at SPXS if you want to follow the SPY a little bit more, but SQQQ follows more of the NASDAQ, or QQQ, which has more tech stocks. So just keep your eyes on SQQQ. If the market does drop, that'll be a very fun stock in September. And even for tomorrow, it'll be pretty fun.
Sounds great. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is Zoom. Now, this stock was showing some daylight today, Tom. It was seeing some daylight, I'll say. It was, running up in a pretty good way intraday, and, it didn't close too close to highs, but still, it had a 3.5% update with some strong volume. So I love to see this type of price action. I will be watching this one to the upside pretty close over the next couple of days as well.
Yeah, I made a joke to Mike the other day, guys. I sent him a text. I said, you better get out of Zoom while you can. I picked up some shares. So I grabbed it down here around 68. I'm really happy to see it kind of flying up here off these lows. I'll keep getting in as long as it keeps moving up. I'm looking for a nice break out of this channel sometime soon. And I'm not surprised you called it out, Mike. It is on a heater. And that move today was pretty good for it. Like, was there any big news or anything on Zoom?
I didn't see anything too crazy. There might have been something small, but when I looked at like the wire on Thinkorswim and some other places, I wasn't seeing anything newsworthy enough, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I don't know, but hey, good move. We'll take it and keep it on the radar. Talk about a stock, though, that did terrible today is Boeing. And, man, Boeing had a big drop, and they had a low right around 223 even. You can see that green candlestick with that wick extending down there. If we actually fall under 223 tomorrow, I will look at puts. It bounced off that big 230 resistance today, and I'll say Boeing's been actually doing pretty good the past couple weeks. If we look at that recent low down around like 213, we're still up pretty much. So I think we could fall down to around 220 tomorrow. And the reason I'm targeting 220 is if we go out to the book map, you can see that's where we had a significant amount of buyers stacked up pretty much all day today. But I'm really waiting for that break under 223 first. It's just under the low of day today. And if we break under there, I think 220 could be pretty attainable for a day trade. It was pretty rough for Boeing today, though, Mike. I'll give it this. It was one of the most lackluster stocks on my watch list.
I feel ya. But yeah, if you guys don't have Bookmap already, you gotta try it out, at least for a month. It is awesome, and I haven't seen anything else out there like it that visualizes the data like Bookmap does. Basically, it shows you directly where buyers and sellers are currently at. It's like hidden support and resistance levels, and it's like real orders, so you can see exactly where the buyers and sellers are sitting at. They act as great support and resistance levels, and you gotta try it out. So if you do want to try it out and you use our link in the description and the comments down below, you will save. We do have like a special offer / coupon code attached. So definitely check it out. But besides that, Tom, it is now time for those momentum plays. And with the first one, we have Verizon to the upside.
Yeah, VZ, pretty good day today. Again, go ahead and make them break out above $35.10, just under that high of day there.
All right. With the next one, we have Shopify also to the upside.
Yeah, I knew this one would be somewhere here. Go ahead and make them break out above 67. That was just an insane move.
And then with the last one, unfortunately, or fortunately, we have Meta to the downside.
Yeah, META, another kind of lackluster move. They did actually close green, though. If they fall under 295, which is pretty big support here, go ahead and look at them down.
Sounds great. So we have that downside level on Meta. If it breaks below that, we're watching it for puts. And then we have the upside levels on Shopify and Verizon. If they break above those levels, we are watching them for calls. But it is now that time for the big money $936,000 trade of the day. And we are looking at ticker symbol CRK. Someone plowed almost $1 million into the CRK 13 strike call options. that expire on October 20th of 2023. For those of you who don't know, CRK is a natural gas producer company, and they've been having some decent price action lately. These calls are not too far out of the money. They have some time to them, and overall, I think the risk-to-reward situation is pretty decent. Looking at CRK right now, they are at some historically low levels, which is a good thing to see. This is like more of like a shorter-term setup, but I just think like the overall risk-reward ratio is pretty good. Maybe you put, right now the stock's at $12.26. Maybe you put your stop loss, I don't know. At first, I was going to say around that support level around like $9 or so. And you can do that depending on the data, of course. And then, you could put the profit target all the way up to that resistance close to like 22. Like, there's a lot of ways to structure this setup, but either way, just keep a close eye on it, because it's not every day that you see a setup like this, with basically $1 million going into it.
Yeah, you don't. And, I'm looking at like the technical side of this right now. I'm really watching these supports and they look pretty good. Even this like $11.30 level here, we're starting to really hold that and come up. And if it continues to hold this will actually be like a pretty good neckline for a head and shoulders type of pattern here. So that would be pretty good. And we could come up to maybe $14 or $15 with that pattern fairly easily, I would think, considering how this stock moves. So for all the technical traders out there, it's like a bit of an inverse head and shoulders, but even just like a basing off support, I think it'll do pretty good. And we're coming up into these winter months again, and we all know how natural gas goes, Mike. Imagine if like Russia or somebody does something again. Oh boy, we're gonna see those prices shoot through the roof.
Exactly. So these stocks definitely have a lot of influence related to global events like that. So keep a very close eye on it. But overall, Tom, I think we should have a pretty exciting day in the market tomorrow. Of course, we have the weed stocks going crazy. We have a couple other stocks going crazy. We have Jim Cramer's curse. We're heading into the month of September as well, which is historically a pretty bad month. But also for tomorrow, we have some economic events on the schedule. Fill us in.
Yeah, we have the non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate. Now, it looks like they're expecting these to come in very close to the previous numbers. You can see the consensus is 170K. The forecast is 180K on the non-farm payrolls. The unemployment rate, they're looking to come in at 3.5%, the exact same as the previous reading. So I'm wondering if this will do anything or not, Mike, but if these numbers end up surprising or something like that, it can definitely play a big role. Anytime you're getting jobs data is very important, especially right now with how influential the feds are and everything they're doing over the past couple of years.
Absolutely. So important data is coming out before open tomorrow, and then there's also semi-important data with the ISM manufacturing around 30 minutes after open. So keep that in mind as well. We have an hour before open, and then 30 minutes after open is when you have to pay attention. That's when the economic events start. But overall, if you guys like the video, hit that subscribe button. When you do, you'll see our videos recommended to you more often. It takes us hours to, find the information, make the video, and, make these videos actually good and, worth watching on a daily basis. So if you want to subscribe and see them more often, definitely do that. In every single video, we talk about some good setups for the short term, as well as some, just important things to know about the market overall, as well as big money, multi-million-dollar trades. So why not subscribe, right? But last but not least, I want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, No Business Trading, who certainly looked like he had some business trading today. He crushed it today with some coin puts. He did great in multiple different ways. I'm looking through his post in the Profits channel, even with Intel, and absolutely awesome job. You really crushed it.
Yeah, that's awesome. $5,000 on that Intel play, 105% on the total return. So great trades today. Like Mike said, it sounds like you do have some business trading. So I think that's pretty hilarious there. But yeah, good stuff overall today. And let's keep up the good work. It's always good to see those great gains like that, especially on such a choppy day like this. I feel like it was a pretty hard day to trade. So good job overall.
There we go. Well, I don't care if today was awesome for you or if it was horrible for you. Let's do everything we can to make tomorrow, the last trading day of the week, an awesome day. What's interesting is that there is no trading on Monday, guys. So let's really do our best to make tomorrow awesome. With that being said, don't get too carried away. Always keep your risk management in place. It is necessary for surviving the market over the long term. But let's have a great day tomorrow, guys, and thank you so much for watching.